has evolved over time, and so have the technologies associated with it. Documentary film Journey with Prabhat gives us a look at just this, but in the context of Indian cinema, and how the Prabhat Film Company and its films are poignant classics in our cinematic consciousness. Let's take a look. The Prabhat Film Company, popularly known as Prabhat Films, was formed in 1929 as an Indian film production company and film studio. It was founded by noted film director V.Shantaram and his friends. The studio spent more than 2 decades producing masterpieces of the early TALKIE era in both Hindi and Marathi, such as Gopal Krishna, Ayodhyecha Raja, and Sant Tukaram. Folding under tough times, the Prabhat Film Company shut down in 1953, only to reopen its doors as a Film Institute of India in 1961, where it now trains the next generation of filmmakers to be. ANOKHI PULSE TV speaks to Director Samarth Dixit, who was a student at the Film Institute of India and was inspired to create this documentary based on ghost stories and myths surrounding the Prabhat Film Company. ANOKHI PULSE TV also speaks to the director about the classic filmmaking techniques of the Prabhat Film Company, how it's changed over time with the emergence of new technologies, and how this documentary is a tender ode to the art of cinema, proving India's roots run deeper than Bollywood.
They were making very different kinds of films from what we have today. So they're making a lot of mythologicals and social, some really like cinematically very beautiful films. And then in the 59, the government of India took over that space. It was a huge space with some of the biggest studios of that time. And then it was turned into a film school where me and my co-director Jessica, both of us were students there. A lot of the equipment is still in use. And there were lots of stories around these things. There were lots of ghost stories and myths about the space. Yeah, so which were very fascinating to us.
Students, some of them could use them as property without knowing the historical importance of that thing which they are using it. But later, of course, some people came to know can relate it after having seen the films, especially the Vithoba statue from Tukaram.
देवाला तरी आम्हाला दूर नव्हतं तरी आम्ही काही देवाला सोडायला तयार नाही फुटो हे मस्तका कुटो हे शरीर नावाचा गजर सोडू नये नाशवंत देह झाला तरी भंग.
The Prabhat Film Company wasn't just known for the films it produced. It was largely known and respected for its state-of-the-art facilities and equipment, which made them the pioneers of the Indian film scene at the time. So how is the art of this filmmaking remembered at a time of such technological advancements today?
Well, I think the change happened more in the 50s and the 60s. Yeah. That was one major period of change when the big studios sort of came in, where like big industrialists started putting in money in the show business, so to say, right? But I think with digital things are really changing. Yeah. So I'm not really like, though I have a little soft corner for film, so to say, and just the kind of material and also the physicality of using a 35mm. Just the material in your hand and cutting on it and working with that. But yeah, I mean, digital I think is changing things for good.
Yes. So I mean, there's a lot of benefit clearly when we talk about digital technology coming into the film industry. What do you think gets lost though? Because when you look back at the Prabhat Film Company and the films that used to be made, and there's an old world charm to everything, of course. What do you think has been lost throughout that time?
I think the early film companies, like if you see the earlier films like Maharashtra Film Company, then the film companies in Calcutta and Madras back in the 30s and 40s, film wasn't exactly the most like it wasn't respected, so to say. People wouldn't aspire to go into film. So actually the people who were coming into films were really people who didn't have too much money, who weren't really looking at making too much money or wealth out of the whole thing. And then later, once the big studios came in, it became as crass as simply money. So I think that sort of they started following formulas that okay, this worked, let's stick to this, which didn't happen earlier. Like there was in fact the kind of experimentation that these guys were doing. If you see some of the Prabhat Film Company movies, there's like a film which is set entirely underwater in 1930s. There's a whole sequence of a film in 1931 where a whole dam is blown up and there are two men running on it, and it's a dramatic sequence. And so there was a lot of experimentation that was going on even in the commercial mainstream, which has stopped, I think.
Don't forget to stay in the loop for your weekly dose of glitz and glam from the world of entertainment with ANOKHI PULSE TV, and stay tuned for more exclusive access to what's hot and happening from behind the velvet rope. And if you get a chance to watch Journey with Prabhat, please do drop us a line and tell us what you think.